Hello, you beautiful bastards. Welcome back to SRS. My name is SRS Fico, and this is SRS. Walter Johnson could throw hard. Like, very hard. They said his fastball was so fast that it was as if a big train had left his hand and blew right by the hitter, which led to Walter earning his famous nickname, Barney. Or no, wait, that was his other nickname, my bad. His actual nickname was the Big Train because they said his fastball was as fast as a train. Don't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Now that you know the very basics of what this man was, let's explain how he was on the mound. Walter was born in 1887, and less than 20 years later, he broke into the majors with the Washington Senators. If you think that seems young, you should know that Walter once struck out 27 guys in 15 innings in a high school game. Seriously, he actually did that. In his 1907 season, which he was only 19 for, by the way, Walter tore grown men apart with a 1.88 ERA, 1.09 WHIP, and a 129 ERA plus as a literal teenager. But with his 5-9 win-loss record, 1907 baseball analysts probably thought he sucked. Wonder if they were on something. Let's just say that in 1909, his ERA was 2.22. That would be the only time his ERA was over 2 until 1917. Yes, it's true that he pitched at a time that was far more favorable to pitchers than today, but that's why the ERA plus exists. It tells you how good a pitcher's ERA was in their own context, which, as we've probably said at least 50 times on this channel before, 100 is the average, so it's easy to compare everyone in history. He was at the very least, 20% better at preventing other teams from scoring in 15 different seasons. And need I remind you that this man pitched the same way you would throw if you were playing fetch with your dog. Honestly, his 1912 and 1913 seasons deserved much more attention. Much more attention. The numbers he put up in those two seasons don't seem like they're real. But they are. They're very real. In 1912, Walter Johnson was 33-12 with a 1.39 ERA, .91 WHIP, and a 243 ERA plus, while also pitching 369 innings. 69. And also at the top of baseball in strikeouts, hits per 9 innings, and FIP. By the way, that 243 ERA plus is still at the top 10 for a single season ever. And guess what? He was even better next year. Unbelievably, Walter Johnson's 1913 stats were as easy to understand as the meaning of life. He was 36-7 with a 1.14 ERA, a .78 WHIP, 11 shutouts, and also led baseball in innings, strikeouts, walks per 9, hits per 9, and FIP. He also took home the MVP award, because imagine if he didn't. Oh yeah, by the way, his ERA plus was 259. Which is still, to this day, it is the 6th best ERA plus ever, which makes no sense because look how he pitches. In his career, Walter Johnson won 417 games, which is second of all time, by the way, pitched an MLB record 110 shutouts, won 2 MVP awards, struck out 3,500 batters, and finished his career with an ERA of 2.17 and an ERA plus of 147. What? 5 different times he posted an ERA under 1.5 for a full season. He was also one of the original 5 members of the Baseball Hall of Fame because of how much he dominated the game. Now, it is extremely obvious that these numbers are eye-popping. So let's take a look at how in the world he was even able to do this. Now, I know I've been clowning him throughout this whole video about his pitching emotion, but he was somehow the hardest thrower of his time with those mechanics. Known Mad Lad Beast Ty Cobb remembers flinching the first time Walter Johnson ever flung a fastball towards the plate with him in the box. He was quoted saying, "The first time I faced him, I watched him take that easy windup, and then something went past me that made me flinch. The thing hissed with danger. We couldn't touch him. Every one of us knew we'd met the most powerful arm ever turned loose in a ballpark." In 1917, it was estimated that he topped out at about 91 miles per hour, which in his day was completely unheard of. But you do have to keep in mind that this was a time where absolutely no one was throwing as hard as today's top arms. A documentary called Fastball reanalyzed a time where, long ago, Walter Johnson's fastball was tracked at a gun range with the same thing they'd use to track the speed of a bullet. Now, back then, they didn't calculate the velocity the same way they would today. This doesn't really sound impressive by today's standards, but this man made his MLB debut when Teddy Roosevelt was still president. There's also the obvious fact that he managed to throw that hard with the most basic throwing motion you could possibly come up with. Imagine if he used his legs and hips whatsoever. Imagine how hard he would have thrown if he used all of his power. There's basically 0% chance any pitching coach would allow this guy's mechanics to stay like this today. Once you get to about 6 years old, they teach you that this is not it. Which is absolutely a testament of his accomplishments and only makes his annihilation of every hitter he went up against even more impressive. Well, that is unless he let you win, which he apparently did for some of his friends in baseball. Walter had a reputation for being a good guy with a lot of friends throughout baseball. It's been said in a book about early 1900s baseball called The Glory of Their Times that he occasionally showed mercy to his friends when it was a rather low-stakes moment in the game. What a king. A great guy with an even greater career under his belt, which is even more impressive when you look at how far pitching has come today. Well, it looks like we've come to the end of the video, so if you did watch to the end, thank you. And as always, if you did watch all the way through, then go to the comments and type, hey. Anyways, gamers, have a nice day, and